Yeah, yeah, I don't know what you be saying.
Welcome to the Give and Go. My name's Tim.
My name is Emmanuel. So 32 for 32 is a series in which we will discuss all the teams in the NFL going from division to division, starting off with the AFC and NFC East, which we'll be talking about today.
So basically, recapping the AFC East last year, we had New England, of course, win the biggest comeback of Super Bowl history, 25 points against Atlanta, going 14-2. Miami 10-6, Buffalo 7-9, Jets 5-11. So we're basically going to go team by team what they got to do this offseason to be better.
The first team is the Buffalo Bills. And for the Bills, they have a lot of needs this season, right? Obviously, the biggest one is QB, as they have to make a decision on whether to keep Tyrod Taylor or cut him.
Well, yeah, he has a high risk. He has a medium ceiling. He costs $2 million with dead cap. So, and that's only they saved $15 million with him. And the question really is, can they draft someone good at pick number 10? Do they like Cardale Jones? And the GM already had a shot with picking EJ Manuel. So, do they really trust him again?
And also, they have to try and bring Gilmore back because they are very, very weak in their secondary, and he's really their best cornerback. So, without him back, their defense is going to be a lot weaker.
And then you got like Sammy Watkins, how you have to determine if he's a fifth-year option. Who are you going to bring back? Are you going to bring back Zach Brown, Robert Woods, Lorenzo Alexander, who's actually pretty old. He's like 32 or something like that. And they got to emphasize locker room change with Sean McDermott coming in from Carolina. And overall, they got to get it right. If they get it right, they become the Miami Dolphins of 2017. And if they get it wrong, they risk years of losing development and restarting the franchise for the fifth time in 10 years.
Last year, the Miami Dolphins went on a surprising run, going 10-6 and becoming the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs.
They got a bunch of needs, especially on that defense, which is trash besides Sue and Byron Maxwell. So they got to release Mario Williams, who after he left Houston, he started sucking. It cost them $2 million dead cap space, but they saved $10 million, so it's a no-brainer. They also got to determine the future of their offensive line with Jawan James and Larry Tunsil. So if they think they're the future, then they can release Brandon Albert and save $10.6 million. And they also have to give Jawan James that fifth-year option.
Okay, and they also have to resign key players, such as Spencer Basinger, Andre Branch, Donald Butler, and Bakari Rombo, because they need them in order to have a successful season this year and to continue on their track to success.
And they have another couple cap casualties. They got Rashad Jones. They can save $8 million if they come in. It will only cost them $1 million. And they can add a first or second round tender on Kiko Alonso, that great linebacker from Buffalo who got traded to Philadelphia and then again to Miami. And they got to build on the surprise playoff run. Don't let 2016 be a fluke. So basically, this team has two paths it can take. It continue its upward trend from 2016 or dive right back down into mediocrity for the remainder of Adam Gase's tenure. So we're talking about the GOAT here, the New England Patriots, the greatest of all time, 5-time Super Bowl champion.
And if y'all honestly think Joe Montana is still the GOAT, I'm sorry. This is coming from a Brady hater. He's the GOAT. Okay.
So basically, I'm not going to second guess y'all anymore. Y'all traded for Kyle Van Noy, someone I really didn't like, and y'all did well with him. So, we've been doing 8 Super Bowls under Kraft, 7 under Belichick, and basically, you got to take a look at some players, though. Gronkowski's been injured for 2 years. Do they really want to keep him, or could they trade him and get like a first or second round pick, 2 first-round picks for him?
You got to remember that Belichick is infamous for trading away key players.
You got Randy Moss.
He traded away Jamie Collins. Like he's not afraid to just ship them away if he feels like they're not useful anymore.
Then you got Jimmy G. You could get probably a first-round pick for him, just like Sam Bradford, first and a fourth. And you probably want to get rid of him now before he walks next year in free agency. So trade him to the Browns. You never know what they could do with him.
New England Patriots also need to resign key players such as Sheard, Bennett, and Hightower. And for Bennett, it's more optional if you want to keep him or not. Again, they're very infamous for letting go of players after one season, especially after they won a Super Bowl with that one season. So for Bennett, it's kind of optional, but for Sheard and Hightower, it's very important that they resign them in order to keep on being relevant.
And then you also got the other free agents that you got to actually determine if they're worth fighting for. You got Logan Ryan, Barkevius Mingo, you got Branch, and then you also got LeGarrette Blount. It all depends on money for those, but yeah.
And you also want to apply first-round tender for Malcolm Butler, as again he is your shutdown corner, he is your best corner, and so you need to have a little extra security on him.
And basically, this is sort of just with the coaching staff. You got to start grooming some offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia going to leave soon. So is Josh McDaniels, unless someone stays to replace Bill when he's like 90 or something like that. But you got to start grooming him.
Yeah. All right.
And then concluding, basically this team is deep and set up for the immediate and distant future. If they continue to find hidden gems, they could set New England up for Super Bowl 6, 7, maybe 8, 9, I don't know, 10.
Maybe 2 more. Maybe.
But we'll see. We have an issue here. We have the Jets, the team that can't figure out how to stay relevant ever.
Nah, and here's the thing, right? And it all comes down to this, Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? When you have a mediocre quarterback, you have a mediocre team. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is that, a mediocre quarterback.
Mediocre quarterback. Bro, this man sucks.
Okay, you have a lower tier quarterback, right? And so obviously with the lower tier quarterback, you have a low tier team, and as long as they have Fitzpatrick, they will always be, I guess, either bad or close to contention, but never ever really being a playoff contender. So with that being said, the number one priority for them is to not sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, to maybe draft a quarterback. They do have a top 10 pick.
The 6th pick. Yeah.
The 6th pick in the draft. So they do have multiple options with Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky, and Deshaun Kaiser all being up for this draft. So they should most likely draft a quarterback.
And you also got to decide on Revis, I guess. He's been good with New England, with the Jets before, with the Bucks, but then he's gone downhill. He's costing over $15 million, and they can save $9 million if they get rid of him. And they also got to release Ryan Clady. They can save another $10 million to their cap space, which they're last in the league. You also have to determine on veterans like Bruce Carter and Benjamin Iljana with the left tackle and linebacker. And is it really worth the cost to re-sign them? I know you guys don't have a lot of cap space, but they're talented players, so you got to figure that out. So besides drafting a quarterback, they also have to draft tackles. And the defense can wait. It's been pretty good. You have who? You have Leonard Williams, Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, Darron Lee, who hasn't really played that much, but that you have a pretty decent front line right there. Adding veterans or late round picks in the draft will suffice for the defense for now.
In conclusion, the Jets, they're full of talent, but they've never been able to capitalize on it, specifically because of the certain positions such as quarterback. And they need to get rid of Ryan Fitzpatrick if they don't ever want to go anywhere. They're also deficient at O-line and their secondary, but getting a new quarterback and having a restart and a rebuild would be best for the team going on in the future.
So you also have a coach like Todd Bowles, though, who really doesn't do anything but sit there and look at the cameras. So if Todd figures out how to coach, the Jets might be contending next year. If not, he'll be on the couch at home the following year. Next, we got the Dallas Cowboys. America's team.
Yeah, it's the Patriots.
Yeah, it's the Patriots. Mm-hmm. So we got to decide what they're gonna do with Romo. They got to get rid of him. It's no question, but how? You got teams that are lining up the door. Actually, probably not, but you got teams that want to trade for him. I think he should go to Houston.
More specifically, I think he should go to Denver Broncos just because they need to win and they need to win now, especially when their defense is this good.
Comment below if you should go to Houston, Denver, or whatever other team. Comment below. And so they also got to decide, are they going to exercise Zach Martin's fifth-year option? And they got to release Doug Free, the right tackle, who really has no business being on that great offensive line.
Okay, and another thing is do not sign AP. Adrian Peterson, as great as a running back he is all the time, you already have a great running back in Ezekiel Elliott. You have a great offensive line. You're set for a couple of years. There's no point in trying to mess with it.
And even your backup's pretty good. You got Alfred Morris as your backup, so that tells you something. Decide what players are worth re-signing. You got Brandon Carr, Morris Claiborne, Barry Church, Jack Crawford, Terrell McClain, Justin Durant, Terrence Williams, J.J. Wilcox, Ron Leary, Rolando McClain, Derek McFadden, all up for new contracts. I say you resign everyone except Leary, McClain, and McFadden, but that's probably not going to happen with the amount of cap space you got.
And to conclude, the Cowboys, they have a very, very bright future. They're a team loaded on the offensive side with a great offensive line, a solid quarterback, and a great running back, and they'll be great for years to come. They just need to capitalize on this and not try to mess around with the team too much.
Yeah, but you also got to make sure that you fix things up because y'all aren't going to go 13-3 or 12-4 again. You know, it's probably going to be closer to 9-7 and 10-6 because Dak actually might turn into RG3. Watch out. So next we're going to talk about the New York Football Giants, the team that's always better than Jets. Always. So you got to determine your future with Victor Cruz.
Yeah.
You got Sterling Shepard rising through the ranks. Cruz isn't as productive anymore as he was with the salsa, and he's pretty injury prone. And then you got to figure out that backfield situation with Rashad Jennings as your starter. Come on, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can do better than Rashad Jennings.
Yeah.
And Chamberlain and Paul Perkins. Yeah, do better.
All that.
Do better.
And also, you got to prioritize who you want to keep bring back with that $25 million. Obviously, there's JPP, but you don't want to overspend for him, especially since your defensive line is already good enough to sustain.
The club.
Yes, the club is also fireworks. Please be safe for fireworks. But anyways, you can also have Keenan Robinson, Larry Donald, Marshall Newhouse,
Will Beatty, Jonathan Hankins, Kelvin Shepard. They all got to resign. So determine who is prioritized. You got to place that 5th-year option on OBJ. Put that 5th-year option on his hair, or give him an extension, one or the other.
and give him anger management classes.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Like in the contract, you should say take 15 anger management classes before you come to camp next year. Yep. So basically, in conclusion for this team, you got a team with a lot of pieces to be championship if they have discipline and a running game along with another year of a great defense. So if those three come together, you might see them in the Super Bowl in next February. Eli has to start throwing less passes. He keeps throwing 40 passes, and that's not that great. But they could continue to be good, and they're for sure making the playoffs next year. And they could probably make the Super Bowl.
You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me, right?
No.
The Giants making the playoffs for certain?
Yeah.
They're loaded.
I'm almost guaranteed.
Get in the frame.
They're loaded.
I'm almost
Nothing
guaranteed.
gets certain in the NFC East.
We already did the
Cowboys make
Patriots.
playoffs.
A lot of people that got to lead that team. I'm sorry. They cost too much money. That GM doesn't know how to do anything. You got Leotis McKelvin already gone. You got Ryan Matthews probably out the door. Alan Barber out the door. Jason Kelsey maybe out the door. Michael Kendricks probably out the door. And Connor Barwin maybe. So you have 6 players right there that are going to be gone next year.
Need to go.
So leave.
Yeah.
And you also have to figure out what skill positions on offense and the whole defense as a whole, except the safeties, because the safeties are pretty good.
Yeah. And you also need to in the draft, you need to look at what you need, because you do need a cornerback, you do need defensive tackles, you need wide receivers, you need O-line, you need running, you need everything basically. So you need to prioritize. I would say especially prioritize wide receiver and cornerback, because you do need to give Carson Wentz weapons. He's very young, and Nelson Algor is not really going to carry the team anywhere.
Nelson Aguilar, I told you, USC, wide receiver sucks. Don't draft Juju Smith-Schuster, anybody that's watching this video.
Okay.
Bro. And then in conclusion, Philadelphia is at least 2 years away. Y'all not making the playoffs next year or the year after. 2 years. From competing with another team. With the quarterback entering his sophomore season, a team is deficient at most skill positions, Philly's coaching staff must continue to invest in Wentz's growth, or else he'll turn into Bortles. So don't try to become Jacksonville here. You're not trying to copy Jacksonville.
Bortles. I don't know. I think Wentz is better than Bortles.
But Bortles was good his first year.
So basically, what I'm hearing is #blame Chip Kelly for the Eagles.
#blame Chip Kelly.
I mean, look
Tweet
at
him.
all the teams he's gone to. There's never been success.
It was
Didn't
good
he
the
get
first
fired
year. It was
after
good the
one?
first year though in Philly.
Well, the first year,
That's
yeah.
because they had the super team and they still underachieved. They're supposed to get like 14 wins. They got 11.
Whatever. Of 14 wins, you can't
They-
guarantee 14.
They were supposed to get like 14 wins. They're supposed
That
to
was
be
in
the best team in the NFC
2011 when they had Vince Young.
as their backup.
Their starter.
No, it was
Vic.
Michael Vick,
Oh, yeah.
Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy. That was the
Plus the superstar defense led by
Oh, yeah.
Byron Maxwell.
Okay. No, Byron Maxwell was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, Byron Maxwell. He got signed right after
They had Nnamdi Asomugha.
the Super Bowl.
That's who it was.
Okay, next we're talking about Washington, the Redskins, and we're gonna say the Redskins on the show, not like these other fake writers that can't even write Redskins. Come on, guys, give it a break.
Okay. Anyways, the big situation here is obviously quarterback, and it's whether to keep Cousins long term or to sign him to another 1 year franchise tag. Obviously, it's pretty hard to decide, as it's not clear whether he's a franchise quarterback or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Put that man, give him a $90 million deal. Otherwise, he's walking.
He
y'all
could be a
to
slightly better Brock Osweiler, but he's never gonna
slightly
lead
better, bro.
Never gonna lead
Don't listen
them.
to him.
Never gonna lead
Don't
them
listen to this
anywhere.
man. So
This is coming from.
and cut D'Angelo Hall. Get rid of him. He's
he
old.
should.
I'm sorry. He was good in his prime, but he's not. He needs to become a coach now. Become like Charles Tillman. Go on TV. He's no longer that good. And then you gotta spend money re-signing players and letting go players as well. You gotta let go Pierre Garçon. He hasn't really done anything.
But keep Deshaun Jackson. You really need him. He's your offensive.
I don't think he's coming back, but you should try at least get him. You got Chris Baker, Dante Whitner. I think you should let him go. Evander Hood and Duke Ihanacho. Yeah, keep him. Keep that man.
He can punch people.
So basically, this team has a lot of holes to fill on both sides of the ball because their whole team is a free agent. Depending on free agency and the draft, this team could be looking at a top 10 pick next year or a wild card spot. So keep that in mind.
Not a wild card spot.
Maybe.
And that's the end of 32 for 32. Come back next week for our next episode in which we go over the next two divisions.
AFC South, NFC South next week.